Well, prior to this assignment, I'd never really heard much, if anything, about hidden bias. I'd always thought, it's either you are or you're not. I never thought it was ever just, subconsciously you might have this certain bias against this person for whatever reason, race, gender, disability, whatever it is. But I never really thought about it as being this hidden thing that we don't even think about. And my first impression of hidden bias when we started talking about it in class was that, um, okay, so there is a hidden bias where people, kind of without even thinking about it, do have a certain bias. But even then, honestly, I was just kind of like, well, mean, that's not me. I mean, okay, maybe some people do, but surely I don't. It's tough to admit that you have a bias against somebody because it's not fair to that person and you're not meaning to do it. Um, but it's just something that happens sometimes. Now, my understanding of what hidden bias is definitely much better than it was when this was first being covered in class. Um, like I said before, originally I just kind of thought, well, some people have it, and but not everybody. But now I understand that we pretty much all do, one way or another. Some worse than others. Me, for example, when I took that test, I actually found out, I had a strong uh, preference for an able person over a disabled person. Now, whether that's completely accurate or not, I'm not sure, and I'm kind of hoping it's not completely accurate because if it is, then I've got some work to do. But I understand that, especially through some of those videos that we watched, and even in the couple articles, that there's a lot more to hidden bias than we think. I mean, we see it every day, and we don't even think about it. We don't even see anything wrong with it sometimes because we just accept it for what it is. But what it really is bias, and I'll definitely be able to see that and look for that and know what I'm seeing a lot more now than I was before. And I feel like this assignment was definitely a great thing to do, especially for a bunch of people that are about to become teachers here in a couple of years, and we'll be out in our own classroom teaching students, and it's very likely, I mean, not very likely, it's going to happen that at some point we're going to have students with disabilities, and we're going to have to be able to work with them and help give them any accommodations they need, and we need to know what our biases are because we still have those biases going into that. That's going to put that child at a disadvantage, and we definitely don't want that. So this assignment has definitely opened my eyes for that. So now, at least if nothing else, I can know what my biases are, and I can prepare accordingly to kind of combat that and to make sure that that's not a problem that's going to affect my classroom. So overall, I believe the assignment was definitely a necessary assignment. It wasn't just something we did, and it was actually really fun. The test was, it was actually interactive. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know what the science is behind it, but I feel like I could see where they were going with it, and for the most part, I think I would agree with the test. I know some people, because like I said, because we don't want to admit that we have biases, might uh, kind of go against what the test results say, but I think it's pretty accurate, and the more I think about it, so the test was definitely the best part, the best asset. The videos I really enjoyed as well because they kind of, one video shows us a bunch of different studies of, proof to back this up. You've got one that kind of shows what's going on in our brain as these biases are coming our way, and just in general as we go about life, what our brain is processing, uh, just all throughout the day. We have one about just how changing things slightly and how we approach things can alter it completely. In the case of that last video, the behavior science guys, they mentioned explain your intent before you go on and talk about your content. And I think that, thinking about it now, that's probably a really good idea, because if not, you're liable to be judged very harshly for what it is that you're saying if you don't explain where you're coming from to start with. The only thing that I think I didn't really find as helpful is the addressing unconscious bias video. I mean, it was a good video, but me personally, I didn't get a lot from that. I didn't see where that really tied into the assignment. I might have just missed something, but to me, I didn't really get a whole lot out of that. And something else I thought was interesting, and I definitely picked up something from, is the article about the bias in children's books when it comes to disabilities. And man, I never even thought about anything like that. And these are stories, books that I've read multiple times. Things I never even thought about. And there's so many different scenarios that were addressed in that article. Such as using people with disabilities as atmosphere in the story, and I've seen stories like that and never even thought about it like that. Portraying people with disabilities as victims, looking at it, mice and men. I read that when I was in 10th grade. That never even crossed my mind. So just different things like that really opened my eyes to see that hidden bias is really everywhere. It really blows my mind just thinking about all the different things like that. So yeah, this assignment was definitely useful, and something I can definitely take with me as continue to prepare to be teaching in my own classroom and dealing with these types of things on my own. And I'm sure I've probably already addressed this one here and there throughout the other questions, but absolutely, this assignment has really opened my eyes to what it is that hidden bias is, what I need to look for, and as far as personally myself, what I need to really look at to make sure that I don't make mistakes that are going to affect my students when I get into the classroom. Because that's one thing I certainly don't want to have, is to get into a classroom and have biases that I don't even know about that are affecting how my students are going to perform. I don't want something that I'm doing to negatively impact their learning and their performance in my classroom. So this is something that I know I can take with me. I'll be that much more prepared because of it. And I think this was just a really great and fun assignment, and something I would definitely consider recommending to other people that are considering being a teacher themselves.